Hi, how are you? So I am live, here I am. I'll wait for a couple of people to join. So every week I have been trying to go live. I'm calling it a Facebook show. Somebody the other day was like, it's not really a show, it's just you going live on Facebook. It's a show, okay? Hi Danielle, hey, how are you? So every week I'm going live with insight and guidance, and I'm trying to make it a regular thing. Yay, oh good, awesome. I can be your dinner companion. So if you're coming on and you're joining me, show me some love. I love to know that people are watching and with me. It can kind of be a weird thing when you're talking to a screen and nobody is paying attention. You're like, are people, oh, hi, hey, Devander, am I saying it right? So every week I have a different theme. And you guys know I talk about empowerment. I'm an empowerment coach. I talk about manifestation. And if you're watching and anything resonates, hey, Michael's in, give me some love, give me an emoji. I like to be interactive, so I'm going to pose you guys some questions as we go on. Like I said, every week I'm trying to go live on my Facebook page. And then in my group, I try to do a live and do intuitive guidance and readings. And every month, I'm going to be doing a masterclass in my group. So you guys can check that out. It's the Empowered Light Leader if you're not a part of it. So anyway, I'm happy to be here this week. We're going to talk about self-worth today. And not only that, but self-belief and what the tools, what do we need to overcome adversity? So when things happen in our lives, we can recover from them easily. So when we have challenges, when we have obstacles, we're not letting our emotions take us under. Because sometimes when things pop up in your life, it can feel like we start to take it inward. Does that ever happen to you? Let me know. Did you ever kind of face something in your life and then you kind of internalize it and take it inward and think, oh, it's because I did this, or I'm doing this, or I'm not good enough, or I'm doing this wrong. And then you kind of like go on that negativity train. Does that happen to anyone? And you start beating yourself up of like, I should have done this and I should have done that. And it's because I can't do this and can't do that. Because I know I've been there. And I have a story that I want to share where I had some obstacles happen this past week. And I really feel like I came out of it with a different perspective. In a way that I wouldn't have maybe a couple of months ago. So that kind of shifted for me. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit, as well as manifestation and how that applies to manifestation. And I'm also happy to announce that I'm starting to work with spiritual entrepreneurs and light leaders who want to create a business, and I'm kind of shifting my focus that way as well. But let's get to it. So a couple of weeks ago, even this past week, I had some situations arise with clients, and I had to kind of assert myself. So sometimes when something happens to us, right, we have to speak our truth. Does anybody have issues speaking their truth? Does anyone have a hard time, saying something that's uncomfortable, right? Does anybody struggle with that? Let me know, because I used to. So if you're an empathic, kind person, sometimes we're afraid of confrontation. Is anyone afraid of confrontation? Like when something pops up, maybe you're afraid to say, I don't like that, or that's not cool, right? Does anyone challenge with that? So adversity and challenges, obstacles, as spiritual people, we know that they're just there to kind of see where we're at, right? So we can kind of, if we change our perspective, we look at it a different way, we can kind of see, well, all right, this is happening for a reason. And this is happening so I can find my either why. So I can speak my truth and find my voice, or I need to believe in myself more. I'm getting better at it. Yes, but yes, yeah. Usually I think people who are very compassionate and tend to be, more empathic, we tend to have a harder time displeasing people, right? So what I've found is that the more I start to love myself and believe in myself and know my worth and value. That's why I'm talking about self-worth and value. And that's why I include it in all the work that I do and in my program. Because the more you value and see the worth within, the less you're going to question and doubt those times when you have to speak up, right? Because it really comes from that place of doubting ourselves. Should I say this? I don't want to appear this way. I don't want to offend them. When really, if you valued yourself and felt worthy enough, you wouldn't question that. Because of course, you should say however you feel, right? There's always a space for that. And there's also the energy of, oh, hey, we're not always perfect either. It's okay if you say something out of context. It's okay if you get mad, right? It's okay. Don't judge yourself. But sometimes these things pop up and we have to hold our ground. And so I find myself like being able to kind of handle this better now. So I'll share with you a quick story. Last week I had a situation arise with 2 clients, and one of them, when somebody comes on with mentoring with me, there's kind of like an understanding that, hey, I'm here to move the energy of your life, right? I'm here to help you transition and transform, but I can't do that unless you want to, right? Is anyone in the helping profession or do any kind of coaching or counseling who's watching? You'll understand that, right? We can only help people as much as they're willing to help themselves, right? So, working with people, I can't force them. It could feel like pulling teeth. They got to be on board. So as a situation arose where I wasn't sure where she was at because she wasn't really showing up. So I kind of made the decision and I said, I didn't get upset, but I made the decision that was best for me. And I said, hey, Lisa, I put myself in a place of empowerment instead of kind of like fluffing around and foo-fooing around of when she's going to show up and when she's going to be ready. I said, no, this is my business and this is what I want. And this is what I need in order for you to work with me. And if you can't, then I'm going to have to let you go. So I made that executive decision for myself. This is what I'm talking about when I say taking your power back. Okay? When you really start to value and love yourself, you're in a position where you're in the place of power. Like, this is what's best for me. And I wasn't doing it from a place of like, get the hell out of here, what's wrong with you? I was saying, no, this is my expectation. This is what is best for me. And if you can't meet that, then we're moving on now. I took charge. I took control because I'm in a better place of self-worth, right? So it was a challenge. This came at me. I didn't freak out, and also when you take on a client, there's money coming in and you're like, all right, I'm depending on this money. I have to let go of that. That was another lesson for me, letting go of expectation, right? Especially if you're a coach or if you're a spiritual entrepreneur. I know Lisa's a spiritual entrepreneur and Danielle is, and Michael Zane, you are too. I mean, everyone who's watching that I can see, you guys are pretty much all entrepreneurs in some regard, right? So when we work with people, right, when we work with clients, it's a relationship, but we have to put ourselves in a place of power so that we set standards for ourselves, right? And when you have self-worth and you value yourself, you're able to, yeah, that's hard, girl. It is hard. It is hard, no doubt. But when it comes, when those lessons come, when that adversity comes, when that person is challenging you, remember it's all for learning. So I came at her with respect. I respect where you're at, but I'm not sure we can go forward. I might need to let you go. Also, here's another key and a good story. This is a good story because when this challenge arose, I let go of my fear of receiving the money. So if I let go of this client, I know and trust, right? That's where trust comes in. All this is the manifestation piece. That's where trust comes in because I know if I have to let her go, right? I trust that the universe will give me back that client. I'll find a client somewhere else, right? Because the universe is abundant. There is no lack. I'm going to say it again. There is no lack. Again, there is no lack, right? Thank you, Alpha Centauri Jefferson. There's no lack. There is no lack. Lack is an illusion. So I don't have to let my fear of holding on to this client if she's not serving me. I can let her go because I know and trust the universe will bring me more. So when you're creating in your life, you must create from a place of release. and letting go of fear and letting go of lack, especially if you're a spiritual entrepreneur and you're a coach and you're trying to find clients, right? So, and I spoke my truth to her and I said what I had to say. And she said, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I wasn't showing up this way, and please don't let me go. Let's have a conversation about it. I really want to continue on the work. So you see, and we had a conversation. It was lovely, and she continued on, and she's doing great. And you see, because, and this is a role of a light worker. This is a role of a leader. We have to sometimes take a step up to challenge people so they can then rise into their truth. So I spoke my truth to her. I said what I needed to say. And then because I held my ground and held the space, I created space for her to rise up. But if I just continue to let the fluffing and the foo-fooing going on, then she's not at her potential because I'm not holding that space and I'm not challenging her. So if you are in that position, just going to read some of the comments. Lisa says, blessed, say thank you, but I have a headache after. I'll trust you have peace and balance will be restored. Okay, yeah, that's good. And the headache is the tension, right? So not holding that tension in. What does Michelle say? How do I deal with lost souls? Danielle, I'll get back to you, sweetie. We have the power to attract and have abundance. I am abundant. There is no lack. Yes. Excess fluffing and foo-fooing is never good. You're right. Yes. I have a coach, Katie. She's my coach. She's from the UK, and she always says, enough of this fluffing and fluffing about. I love it. I love the accent. But so lost souls. So Michelle, well, there's layers to that question, right? Do you feel like it's your purpose to help them? What I would say, because I don't know the details of it, stay in your lane. I have a good friend. Some of you know Cindy. Oh, Katie, she's here. Yay. Fluffing, foo-fooing about. I don't think I'm saying it right. I have a good teacher. My spiritual teacher and friend, Cindy. She would always say to me, stay in your lane, Cookie. You stay in your lane, and if someone wants to help you, they come in your lane and you help them, but you do not come out of your lane. And so that might help you, Michelle. So if someone's a lost soul, you stay in your power, you stay in your lane. If you happen to interact with them and you feel no faffing, that's what it is, faffing about, no faffing about. Yeah, you stay in your lane. And if they come at you, right, and if you're in your place of power and then you feel like you can help them, then you help them. But we don't leave our place of power. We can still stay in our place of power and assist people, especially if you're a coach, right? And I've had this conversation with Katie, and we've talked about that. That's our job, to hold space and to help people rise up. Because if you start a coaching and mentoring program and you're trying to implement drastic changes in your life, you're gonna encounter fear. You're gonna encounter freaking resistance. You're going to encounter all these things that are going to pop up and try to sabotage you. It's going to happen. It's just the nature of the beast. But the good thing about it is that when you work with someone, let's say, a coach or a mentor, they challenge you. And they're like, you're in resistance right now. You're in fear. So you're doing them a favor. You're doing that person, even if you're not a coach or a mentor, and you're having a conversation with a friend, the same thing can apply. And that's what a good friend is, isn't it? A good friend challenges you. A good friend says, no, you're acting like an idiot. When you're like, no, I'm justified in doing this. And your good friend says, no, right? That's what a good boyfriend does, a good girlfriend, a good husband, a good wife, right? A good partner. They challenge you. They don't just stroke your ego and tell you what you want to hear all the time, right? What's the point of that? There's no growth in that. Right? So, yes, yeah, I feel so much darkness. So, Michelle, I would say to you, it's about you being in the light, because if darkness comes at you, that's okay, as long as you're in the light and surrounded with light, right? You are the light. You are the light. Yes, darkness exists, right? The same scenario applies if you're talking to someone who has a lot of darkness, right? Don't let that consume you. Hold your power, hold your light, let your light be expansive. That's why we stay in our own lane. We stay in our own lane and we expand our light, and we can help the world that way. We don't need to go drown in someone else's sorrows or someone else's pain, right? If you guys have heard me talk before, I always say when you're helping someone or guiding someone, did you ever see Dirty Dancing? This is my dance space. This is your dance space, right? With Baby and Johnny. Okay? So, Michelle, you have a lot of light to give. Don't let people take from your light. Expand your light, right? So this is your dance space. This is their dance space, okay? This is your heart center. You keep this. This is for you, right? I was doing coaching, and actually before coaching, doing social work. I was working in a group home with foster girls, and they're very reactive. You can imagine the trauma and the pain there. And it was draining me because I was feeling for them, but it was too much. I didn't have the boundary, okay? And I can't be effective as a therapist or a coach if I'm drowning in their sorrow and drowning in their pain. I have to maintain my distance and my boundary, right? So for those of you just joining, we're talking about obstacles and how we deal with adversity and how to manifest change through that. But again, someone said to me, this is your bucket, right? This is your bucket. You keep it within your heart. And when you're interacting with someone, a friend, whether you're, like I said, you don't have to be a coach or a therapist to relate to this. You can be a mom or a brother or a sibling. You're empathic, right? And you're feeling their pain. But you recognize and understand that you can only help them by being in a place of power. You can't help someone by drowning in their sorrow. You can't. So this is your bucket. This is what you have to give to the world. So what you have to give to the world is right here, okay? And what you have for you is right here. And again, this is about boundaries. And if you're working in any kind of helping profession, or if you're empathic, you incarnated here for those lessons, for boundaries, right? So going back to, I hope that was helpful, Michelle. So going back to kind of how we overcome adversity and deal with challenges, right? Life's going to throw shit at you. It's going to happen. Okay, we don't live in a bubble. And the more shit that's thrown at you, the more you're going to bounce back on your feet. So again, when I had that situation with my client, I spoke my truth. I told her this is what's what. I stood in my power. Again, this is about standing in your power. And she has a choice, okay? There's another piece of this too. You're going to need to let go when you handle some challenge or adversity, or you have to confront someone. What's important is you're letting go of the outcome. That's another trick to manifestation. So we stand in our power with our desire, what we want, what we feel is right, and we let go of the expectation. The same way in an interaction, if I have to speak my truth, it's not that I'm not compassionate to you, but I'm letting go of the expectation of what you're going to say back to me. It doesn't matter. You can choose, that person can choose how they choose, and that's their choice. Again, you're not leaving your power, right? That's their choice of how they choose to react. That's their choice. As long as you're in your truth, that's what's important. So however they're reacting, whatever situation, if they get offended, or if they're upset, or if they this and that, and all the scenarios, again, that's their choice, okay? So again, I was in my power, and because I was in my power, it enabled her to rise up to her power. That's what being a light leader is. That's what being a light worker is, holding the point of power, holding the light, so that others can rise up into their light. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not freaking easy, right? That's why we need outlets. That's why we need to have fun. That's why we need to remember that feeling good is the most important thing there is, because we're keeping our vibration high. And I talked about this last week when I talked about manifestation, right? So many classes and coaches teach about manifestation, but the number one thing when you want to manifest your desire, it's about feeling good, keeping your vibration high. And the second part that I teach in my program and my mentorship is taking your power back, standing in a place of power, coupled with, hey, Joanne, that's okay. I'm talking about overcoming challenges and confrontation and adversity and how we do that. So when you're in a place of power, you're well equipped to do that. You're well equipped when you're not judging or second guessing yourself. I had another situation happen with a client where she signed on and she was having difficulties committing, and in the beginning, I had to chase her around, right, to find her, financially. I had to chase her around. And again, that's a lesson for me. And I spoke my truth to her, and I said it in a loving way. Listen, when you speak your truth, when you're in a grounded place and you're not emotionally reactive, okay, there's a difference, right? Isn't there a difference between emotionally reacting and being triggered to detaching to then, okay, what is my truth? What do I need to say here? All right. I'm going to get to that in a second too. That's a tool for manifestation as well, and clearing your energy so you can go to the next best thought. But I kind of found my truth in the situation. I spoke my truth to her. She spoke her truth to me. And then we found a middle ground and we worked it out, and I was flexible, and she received it well, and she continued on with the course. So you see, and I didn't get upset. I wasn't flustered by it. I was like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to rise up, right? Because that's what light workers do. We rise up to the challenge. We rise up to adversity. Rise up, right? You know that song? I'm not going to try to sing it, but you know what I'm talking about. So how we rise up, how we handle adversity is how we make changes in our life. Now, if you want to make a change, right? If you want to make a transformation and you want to take the reins and the hold of your life, right? And you want to be empowered, well, there's certain qualities that you're going to need, okay? Let's say you want to be an entrepreneur, or you're making a drastic change in your life, or you're making a shift. What's a quality you're going to need through that, right? What's a quality that you need to handle adversity? What's a quality that you need to handle challenge and obstacle? Anyone? Like Ferris Bueller. Anyone? Does anyone know the answer? Right? What's a quality that you need to deal with challenges, adversity, making transitions in your life? Right? Does anyone know? I'm going to have to say it, but think about it. So one of them is, anyone? Does anyone have? Oh, Joanne, I found too many people don't do the truth easy. I get in trouble sometimes because I can be too direct trying to find balance. Well, yeah, people don't want to see the truth, right? It's easier, so it's people, but I would say willingness and confidence. Yes, definitely. That's what's part of confidence. Yes. Truth, trust. Yes, that's part of it. But for Joanne, really quick, like, what's your truth? So people can't handle it. It's about you. And are you being too direct? Well, maybe you need a little compassion, but that's for you to decide where the balance is. But as long as you're following your truth, right, then that's what's most important, right? It's not your job to wake anyone up. They can either choose to see the truth or not. Your job is to be in your truth, not to impose it on others, right? Belief, yes, trust. So I asked the question, what do you need to make transitions and change in your life? What do you need to overcome obstacles and adversity? And you guys said confidence, willingness, trust, and belief. Yes. So start thinking about these things. These are the qualities of a light worker who can transition through changes and handle adversity. I'm going to have to be confident, okay? But where does confidence come from? Follow your heart and say it from there. Yes. Where does confidence come from? It comes from the knowingness that you can do anything. And where does that come from? That comes from, self-belief and self-worth. How do I get to self-belief and self-worth, right? By telling myself that I'm enough. I can do anything. I'm enough. I can do anything. I'm enough. I can do anything. Life throws anything at me, I can handle it. Because we don't live in a bubble. So that when chaos is swirling around us, we can breathe through it. And we can actually manipulate and change the energy and neutralize it. And that comes through meditation and practice, right? What else did you guys say? Flexibility, faith. Yes. What else? Belief, trust. So trust, faith over fear. Yes. So trust, right? So trust, right? Trusting the universe, right? That it will always provide us whatever we need. If I'm worrying about money, money's going to show up. If I'm worrying about anything, really, the universe is going to give me what I want because I'm worthy. You see how they're all interlocked and connected? I can overcome anything because I'm good enough, because I'm worthy. I can do anything, right? But that trust of the universe, right? Because again, everything's on the inside first. That trust from the universe really comes from trusting ourselves. Because when we trust ourselves and know if we fall down, we're going to come back up. We're not going to disappoint ourselves, right? So yes, trust and faith in ourselves, right? Because our relationship with yourself is the relationship to the universe. It's the same thing. And Joanne says faith over fear, right? So when that fear does show up, we can just kind of work through that fear. That's another part of my program, right? The 6 steps to become the empowered light leader. Let your fear work for you, right? Because whenever a fear pops up, it's always just showing us the darkness, the contrast, what we need to heal. So if I'm afraid of being seen, let's say, there's a judgment that people aren't going to approve of me. So it's really showing me that I need to approve of myself. Oh, hallelujah, hear the angels sing. Your fear just taught you something you need to hear, and heal, right? So your fear, if your fears show up when you're working through challenges, this is all the pieces of the puzzle that I'm pulling together, and I'm seeing it show up in my own life of how I'm handling challenges when they show up. I'm actually handling them a lot better. You know, the world is not crashing down on me. Like I feel like if something negative would happen to me, it would take away my self-belief. I become discouraged very easily. And why is that? Why would I get so discouraged so easily? Because I would internalize it and think this is showing up, this challenge, this person, this situation is showing up because I'm not good enough. And we do that. That's what we internalize. But when you're putting off that vibration of I'm not good enough, you are actually attracting situations that are going to reinforce that. And that is manifestation at its finest. That is the law of attraction. Like attracts like. So what I finally want to say is that what helps you through all of this? Okay, so what's going to help you through adversity and challenges? Yes, confidence, right? Faith over fear, right? Trusting, self-belief, but also, yes, knowing that you're enough and, knowing it's all showing up for a reason. But the final piece of it really is it's a gift. It's a gift. And then how do we choose to move forward in that? How do we choose to move forward to rise up, right? To rise up to then let that go, right? Let that shit go, right? So if you want to manifest a business or if you want to create something, right, there's going to be moments where doubt creeps in, self-doubt, right? But you have to be your own coach and you have to be your own counselor and your own best friend and your own mentor, right? Because when you can be these things for yourself, you understand that there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do, and life will come at us. But again, I want to say that you are the gift. You are the prize. And just keep on telling yourself that. And how do I know all these things? Because they've shown up in my life. And that's why I created my mentoring program, right? To help people who feel powerless to make changes in their life. They feel stuck and they need someone to help them get over their fears, take back their self-worth, and start understanding how manifestation works. How does manifestation work, right? How does the law of attraction work, right? It's all about vibration. And the next part of that is changing your thought to then have a higher thought so you can raise your vibration. So I'll give you one more tool to handle negativity, to handle a criticism, something yucky that comes at you from someone or someplace or something, or a negative thought you have about yourself. And I use this all the time. I have this thought, and just for a moment, think about a negative thought that you might have. I'm just trying to say, okay, the comments are all cut up. What's a negative thought that you have? It could be, I'm not good enough. That's a classic one, right? Pause, stop for a moment. Or it could be even something someone said to you that made you feel uncomfortable. Something that you're buying into. Because it's a belief, right? No one can ever, I just said this, I just recorded a video. I'm going to put it on my Facebook story. I just had a client and she said, why are these people making me feel not good enough? And I said, no, they're not making you. You already feel not good enough. And it's inside of you. That feeling's inside of you, and they're just highlighting that for you. So how can you change that? Stop, pause. Is this true? Right? And I had spoke about this before. The highest vibration is love. Love is the only freaking truth there is. So if I know that, then I know anything that's not a loving thought is not true. So pause, stop, right? And Gabby Bernstein does something similar if you're doing her 21 days manifestation. I talked about that. Is this true, right? What part of me is invested in this being true? Let me let go of the guilt. Let me forgive myself for believing this. And let me replace that thought with something else that's a more loving thought, right? So if the thought is I'm not good enough, is this true? Is that really true? No, that's not true. And what's the next? You don't have to have a solution, right? The next best thing is I am good enough. And this is repetition and affirming, right? Over and over and over again. And that's how you take your power back. Really, think about it. Because if your worth comes from inside, then you're not dependent on anyone else to make you feel anything. Feel good, feel bad, feel any way. You don't need your juice, your juju. Your juju comes from within, and you don't need approval, and you don't need anything because you have it within. Now I know Rome wasn't built in a day, right? But these are the steps, and these are the tools to transformation and taking your power back. That's why I call my program and my group the Empowered Light Leader, because there are so many light workers who have been disempowered, who have given their power away because they're empathic and because they've tried to make other people happy first, because they don't like feeling that negativity, so they'll sacrifice themselves. So I've created that program for people who need to excavate that and want to take their power back in their life, as well as light workers and people who want to create a business and who want to launch themselves and shine their light, but they don't know how. So it is the Empowered Light Leader. I'm currently taking on one more student for January, then moving on into February. I'm hosting a free masterclass, and join my group. If you're not, it's going to be in the group, and it's called Becoming the Master Creator. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be a master creator? Think about it. What would it feel like to just declare something, have a desire, know that you're worthy of it, and instantly manifest it? I mean, we manifest all the time. We just don't realize it. And the most powerful manifestations happen when we don't have expectation. I talked about this on my last Facebook Live. Like a silly thing, like a highlighter. I wanted a new highlighter and one showed up in the mail. Or I wanted a new dresser and somebody was throwing out a dresser. Or I really wanted tan boots and I kept on thinking about tan boots. I really want tan boots. And tan boots showed up on online, Steve Madden, on sale for $59, originally $140. Because I didn't want to spend a lot of money for them. I wanted that. I wanted tan boots. I didn't want to spend, I wanted to spend like $60, $50 for them, and they showed up. It's as simple as that. Tan boots, right? That's not the hugest thing, but I was able to manifest that quickly because I didn't have expectation. I wasn't holding on to it, right? Like thinking about getting new clients or thinking about manifesting something big, I might hold on to that, right? Because we're not supposed to hold on. We're partnered with the universe, right? It's a dance. So, and in fact, whether you realize it or not, who takes the first step in the dance? It's not the universe, you do. Because we have free will and we're here to be powerful beings and know our worth. And we take the first step with our desire. So when you're manifesting, it's about taking the first step, leading with your desire. Then you take then in the surrender. So it's the healthy masculine energy of I want this. And then it's the feminine of I surrender my desire to the universe because I know I'm worthy and I trust that all is provided for me. So becoming the conscious creator is happening in the end of February. I am happy to announce I'm changing my focus a little as well, working with spiritual entrepreneurs. Either A, you have an idea, you want to start a business online, but you're not quite sure how to market yourself, and you're not quite sure how to do social media and all that, or what your business looks like, or what your offer looks like, or how you're going to help people, or who the hell you're helping. I'm here to help you create that. Or B, you already have a business, but you need more clarity and confidence in that business. I'm including that in my steps of my program as well. And I will be launching the Empowered Light Leader group program happening at the end of March. I'm positioning myself to launch that soon. So I'm just happy to make all these announcements. Also, I'm starting to make more YouTube videos, channel videos, light language videos. I'm wrapping up with my light language course. I'm hoping to create that one again sometime soon. You can go to Embody Your Light on YouTube if you want to see those. And again, my Facebook group is, what the hell is it called? The Empowered Light Leader. I'm going to try to make it in there tomorrow to do some intuitive readings. I hope to see you. Thank you guys so much for watching. So just final thoughts. You have the tools to overcome adversity and challenges and manifest what you want when you have a strong sense of self-belief, right? Faith and confidence that whatever life throws at you, you can tackle and you can handle because you're empowered to do so. You are the Empowered Light Leader. Again, thank you for watching. And if you just joined, you caught the end, watch the replay because there's some good stuff in there. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. You're welcome, Joanne. Nice to virtually see you too. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you next week. Every week I'll be doing this show. Okay? Much love. Bye.